Hello! Welcome to The Mouth of Truth, the live stream from behind the scenes of Ren, the girl with the mark. And what's this? I've got someone with me.
Here.
Someone with me in the studio, the headquarters. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ash.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Ashram Maharaj. I'm writer and director of this episode. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we had some great comments coming in on the chat as that was playing, so we look forward to seeing any questions you might have for Ash or for our other guests who we're going to bring in a little bit. Please put them in the chat. We're going to be joined in a few minutes by Alexander Hackett, Hunter of course, and Helen Fullerton, who plays Sol. So we're going to have a good old chat about the episode, and as usual there will be spoilers, so if you, for some reason you've come here and you haven't actually seen episode 4 of season 3 yet, do stop right now, go and watch the episode and then come back, because otherwise we're going to ruin it for you. Hi everyone, says I love my captain. Hello to you. Hello. As well.
Hello everyone.
Woo! Hello Luna Quinn, who was the one that was feeling the emotions, I believe, during the episode, which was great. Yeah. Thank you JHGK98, very kind, and hello to Michael Hudson, who of course built some key parts of that wonderful Helgoth set we just saw.
All amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And Karina, our wonderful hair and makeup artist and designer on the series, has been putting together some fantastic interview questions for these streams. So we're going to be going through some of those, as well as any that you might like to put in the chat for us as we go through. Thanks to Partners in Dub saying there it was a truly moving episode.
Thank you, Partners in Dub. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank
you very much. Glad you're really enjoying this one. So Ash, let's start from the beginning. Karina said, I'm curious if either of you or both of you, so I think she's talking to both of us, if we've been influenced in our visual style by someone specific, and how did we collaborate on the visuals. And we're gonna play as we go through this. We're gonna play Ash's mood board that he put together.
The mood board is an example of probably the control chaos in my brain. But this most of this will just explain actually what came to mind. I had a particular vision of this. There isn't any specific someone specific or anything like that. It was just trying to tell an emotional story and how that's gonna look. And we sat down, I think, one day and said, let's have some lunch together. And we literally went through the script shot by shot and created a shot list. And I would say, okay, Neil, this is what I'm thinking, this is what it's gonna look like, and this is what we're trying to get across. And Neil will sort of make his notes for the camera side of things to say, okay, well, it's that. Especially with the master, say any eyes are important, so he wrote down eyes are important in like massive capital letters. So that's how that ended up going. So we really collaborated on all of that. And just to show you, as you can see, some of these are actually, the shots are typed actually in the episode. All of this in terms of just trying to get a certain look and a certain emotion across. And
this was super helpful for me, because I always knew exactly what we were going for, and we scribbled some storyboards for some of the shots, but this was, I think, the main thing that we referred to.
It's literally the shots or the way from the episode from beginning to end. And so just all the reference material, which originally the look of Aluma. My original thoughts was Andy McDowell, Julia Roberts type, big curly hair. We managed to get at the end, and what Helgoth would look like, what the the costumes will look like, what does Hunter look like, the young Hunter. So just pulling references all the way through from scouring the internet. You might notice a lot of Stargate in there. This is one of my favorite shows. So yeah, just same shots in there. A bit of DCs because some of my favorite characters.
Yes.
So yeah, it's literally episode, I think, in that movie. There's a bit more to say. Yeah, and more Stargate there.
And I think for me, like, I've been shooting Ren for so long now that I'm sure I am subconsciously influenced by many different things, but I feel like at this point it's got its own style, and the style that sort of Kate set back in season 1, that sort of very classical style of cinematography. I think for this particular episode, Once Upon a Time in the West was an influence, and I don't know if that was something we talked about in pre-production, but definitely when we had the really hot sunny weather when we were filming, and there's that low angle shot early in the episode where you feel like, oh, if a tumbleweed came through, this would be a western.
So it was that, and I think I did say The Good, the Bad and the Ugly is one of my favorite films, so it's that sort of stark contrast to everything that's happening at the time. So and it turned out really well.
It did turn out beautiful. And shout out to Mara Chiuba, our colorist. I gave her Once Upon a Time in the West as a reference for the grade, and she really brought that out as well. So let's just see if we got JHGK98 is asking, how was it directing an episode of a show you were part of since the beginning, Ash? How would you rate your Ren journey so far?
Thank you for your question. It was a wonderful experience. Fortunately, I knew mostly everyone on the set at that point, so there's a bit of like familiarity with everyone, and I know what everyone can do. So it was, I don't want to use the word easy, but it was just to get on set. All the crew had access to the mood board, so they know exactly what it was going to look like. It was quite fun. It was quite fun, and there was some great. We had some moments on there where it was hard not to be a fan of the show at the same time, because the shots were coming out so well. The Master was one of them. Obviously, the last shot with Hunter was the one I was like, you can see in the mood board it's a little bit different, so I changed the shot in the end. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience. Hope to do more, and I've been involved with the project, I guess, from all the way back in season 1, and even before that in a way, because I've known Chris and Kate for many years since since the original test shoot for Born of Hope. So I felt a bit of responsibility to make sure these characters are shining in a good light, and because I want to be sure these are my friends. I don't want to mess anything up for them, and try to tell an emotional story and visually effective, hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was great to have you direct this episode. So let's bring in our other guests at this point. Let us welcome Helen Fullerton. Hello, Helen. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. And Alex, are you there? How are you doing?
I'm here. Hello. I'm all good, thank you. How are you guys? Let's act like we haven't been chatting for the last 20 minutes.
It's the illusion of show business. Alex, question for you. It's an episode where you don't speak much, but a lot happens. Was that a challenge? How did you connect personally to the character?
For sure, man. It was a big episode for Hunter, and when I read it, I'll be honest, I was a bit like, oh, okay, this is gonna require a bit more of me than what I've probably given before. So I was very nervous, to be honest with it, and I wanted to get the feeling of the episode across, and because obviously at the start it's a lot of shots of Hunter just like sort of exploring Helgoth and rediscovering this area that he's obviously known before, and when we find out what happens and his connection with his mother and everything, it's really significant to Hunter's story and to the sort of future of Ren as a series. So yeah, I kind of just took it shot by shot. It's very easy to get in your head about things and like think about the big scene in the tunnel with the wonderful Helen. But it was more just trying to stay. What shot is coming now? What have I got to do right now? Okay, let's try and feel that. I think we've all kind of felt things of like abandonment and loss and grief, and maybe if we haven't felt grief, or we've not allowed ourselves to feel grief, which is very much Hunter's case. He's kind of ran for a lot of his life, right? So I was kind of trying to lock into those kinds of feelings, because obviously my village hasn't burnt down as a human being. So I always find locking into strong feelings and like trying to tap in that way is the best way to do it. But yeah, it was a pleasure. It was a wonderful shoot. This weather today was reminding me of us being in the sun in August, shooting all this. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, then you did it. You did a fantastic job, and we've got a lot of comments coming in. You know, Alex, what a stellar performance! Really moving scene with Helen, who was brilliant as well. Great job. Amazing work, Alex, as Lunaquin. The sheer emotion boiling beneath the surface to the reveal. Wonderful. Yeah, really well done there. So Helen, do you want to talk about how Sol has changed since we first met her in season 2, and is she now a character that controls her own story, or is she more reactive, perhaps?
In a way, I think she's more reactive, because I'm assuming the tavern has been destroyed as part of the punishment, so that part of her world is gone. And I say at least twice, I think once in this episode and once in the last episode, that I'm basically following Tansy's journey. I'm there to look after her. She's off to find rebels, and I'm going with her. So Tansy, in a way, is leading. Is the driving force, should I say? Yeah.
Good answer. It's quite so this is for everyone. I mean, it's a heavy episode. Karina says it feels like it's no longer just about survival, but about things that hurt and stay. Was that a directorial intention from the beginning, and how was it for the two of you, Alex and Helen, to stay in that space? That space of quite deep and painful emotions.
Yes. In the previous season we talked about what the Kanath has done, what the Helgoth protocol, remember Helgoth, all of this, but we haven't actually.
I've got the t-shirt.
Yeah. We haven't actually seen it, and we saw bits of it, but we haven't actually seen what that looks like. And so the episode was really about the Ren world and how people are reacting to it and how people live in it. And I think one of the directions I did give when you were in the tunnel scene, I think I said the world should not be like this, and that was part of the emotion that brought everything out at the end of it. And but yeah, it's how people. This is what the Kanath did. This is what will happen if you don't follow the Kanath, and this is what the world's like. It's quite broken. There's a lot of stuff that's come out of it. Hunter is a product of the world. Ren has been sheltered from the world in some ways, even though she's aware of the Kanath. So this is our introduction to the world. It's really through Hunter. So what does that world look like for someone who's been through it all? And how does the other characters who are currently living in that world deal with it? And how does Sol try to help this person who's currently lost because of what's happened previously? So yeah, it's I think I must go there.
Anything to add, Helen, Alex?
I would just say it's all about the environment created on set as well. It's super important, like the mood. When everyone knows this kind of scene, we had it in season 2 too with the betrayal scene with Ren and Hunter. There's a certain mood that has to be adopted by everyone and respected, and everyone does, And I felt that very much so, and very well led by Ash on set and Neil, and like how you guys run the set, and especially for those pivotal moments where I've got to emote. The atmosphere on set is a big factor.
It was very important to give both of you time. That was the main thing, because you had to, I guess, find it in a few moments, and I think there was a bit. I think a few times I said, Alex, just tell me when you're ready. Even though I said roll, I just let it run anyway because there were some bits I could use. You never know in the edit. But it was more about just whenever you're ready, we'll go, and you give me that, and then we just went. So yeah.
Yeah. Although the one thing that sort of counteracted the atmosphere we're trying to get on set was the wedding going on in the next field, which we tried to avoid by starting early, but it didn't really work. So
there's always obstacles, you know. Yeah. There's always.
There were kids. There was literally a bouncy castle in the next field, and kids playing football, and
we've had worse. We've had friends, you know.
Yeah, we've had the friends.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Yeah, at least we didn't have too much dialogue. To get through in the episode. Were there any moments where a scene became something different to what was written? Do you think, Ash?
I can't really think of anything. I think we pretty much shot the script. Would you agree?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I remember adding, I did add a bit, was when we see Tansy sort of like looking at the ground and stuff, and she's looking at the stuff. I think I added a dialogue in there after we had done the shot with Debbie, and I was like, okay, maybe because it's more to add to Tansy's journey of saying to that line, get to the line where no, they are rebels, because she's the one that's going to lead it, hopefully going forward. But I think we pretty much shot it, because when we sat down and went through every single thing, it was literally the script, and I think not much. Can't really think of anything that was changed.
No, I don't think much was, to be honest. We've had a question come in for Helen here from Partners in Dub. We've seen that Sol is a woman who had to make difficult choices in the past. Do you think her destiny would have been different if she hadn't met Ren and Hunter?
Yes. She may have made, like Noi made a bid to buy back her daughter, but I don't think she'd have thought about fighting for her, not on her own. No. Yes. Hopefully to be kept a tavern too.
Yeah, Smoke and Ember would still be going. And another question's coming for Alex, asking if you've ever met Duran Fulton Brown, the previous Hunter.
I have not. He's a handsome man. Lovely chap too. So it'd be lovely to meet him one day. But I have not.
No. Two casts have never met. One day, universes will clash. Let's have a watch now through the episode and have a chat about it as we go. Please do keep putting your questions in the chat if anything occurs to you. Do you think you had more control working as a writer-director, or extra responsibility, would you feel?
Probably, I think, a little bit of both. But like I said, it was more of a collaborative experience. So you know where I wanted to go, and I was fully aware of there's a set thing for the world of Ren. So don't go out of that. But no, it's just, I think, because during that time, when we were scripting it, and Neil did say to me, because episodes 1, 3 and 5 were basically in some ways in the can, and we were still sort of working out Hunter's story, and I think I sent you like a 1.5-page doc of like something. Yeah. And then we saw it and I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. And then you said, would you be interested in doing Hunter's arc this season? And I was like, yes, because I'm a huge fan of all the characters, including Hunter, and the potential and the possibilities. And so I watched Alex's performance, like it was in the background while I was typing, just to get and watch his behind the scenes and everything, just to get the thoughts and what he was thinking. But yeah, so there's a big arc for Hunter. It starts from episode 2 all the way to episode 5, so there's a bit of it in episode 5, not to spoil, but it's they have the characters. Well, at some point I'm sure you will think me again. But and how is that gonna look? But yeah, it's I'll say it was pretty much a collaborative process at the end of it, really.
I just want to say, while the title's up, that field was nigh on impossible to walk through.
I apologise.
With the flowers.
Yeah, it's just coming through. Yeah.
It was a lovely day, man. I had no complaints. Nice being out, you know.
There was just a lucky thing that
Yeah.
this was a field that I think the farmer had a crop in that had failed, so he just like left it with all these. He put down some wildflower seeds, and we got him to clear and compact this area for us to build the set on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big shouts to the art department, as always.
Yeah.
Big shouts.
The House of Finn, or the Finn clan, as I call them.
There's that tumbleweed shot.
Yeah. Who I probably owe many lunches and dinners to. But yeah, their team was, Ash's team was brilliant.
Yeah. Of course, Helen cut some of the many polystyrene blocks that we used.
At least 3 of which have an H carved in them.
Oh, do they? At least you didn't put little R2D2s or anything.
We should split up.
Because we did talk about locations,
Yeah.
doing this on location, and we
Yeah.
did some research. In fact, Meg helped with the location research, and I think also Rachel, who was Captain Meluso last season. But a lot of places were just like ruins of single buildings, and they had very neatly mown grass around them and things. And,
Yeah. And I think when I was having a conversation, and I think we sort of said, it'd be nice to like have something like season 1, where it's built and we can just like cart it around and move it around and stuff. And there was a pause from Neil, and he was just like, "Yeah, we should build it."
It's easy for me to say.
Yeah, and then once you build that, you get to building the archive, which I think is still impresses to the day just by looking at it.
Our archive is next level.
Because you walk in and you're just like, "That's humongous! Wow."
Yeah.
There you go. Poor Hunter.
Didn't these props also be used in the fully built Hunter's house? Did they get
Yeah, so
consolidated?
there were kind of 3 Hunter's House sets. There's this one. There's the one that's intact that you see in the end of episode 2, and whenever you're looking towards the door, it's a ground level set. And then there was a 3rd one that was a partial of the house above the tunnel. Just
It's combination of 3 locations as well, and just a bit
seemed
different.
like a good idea at the time.
Yes.
How would you compare building the Helgoth set to building the Lingarth in season 1 in Caxton? Asks JHGK98.
I think we weren't really around.
I certainly wasn't
Yeah,
around,
it was
for
around
the
when it
set
was being
build in
built.
season 1.
Yeah. I think when I first got in the Ren onto season 1, it was already there. But they had it in like dollies or trolleys, and they used to move around. So it was. This is heavier, so we needed like a massive like farm machine to move it.
Mark brought his telehandler. Mark
Yeah.
the farmer very kindly used his telehandler to get the set pieces out from the workshop to the field. But I'm sure Chris Dane would have loved to have had one of those on season 1. It would have made his life a lot easier.
There is I think it's on the. Is it on the website or on Facebook? There is a reel that shows you from us moving it around and everything and building the set.
Yeah, there are some somewhere, and some good time lapse. Well, in the opening title sequence of this stream, actually, there's some good time lapses of it being built. Devi broke my heart in this scene, says Partners in Dub. Stephanie was amazing.
Yes,
She certainly was.
Told us properly yet what
One big difference is Lingarth was built in place. Helgoth was built indoors and moved outside for filming.
Yes.
Good point, Michael. Yes.
Yes, there were a couple of looks, and when I said, it goes outside, I was like, how are we going to move that? And unfortunately, Mark was around, and it's on a farm, so we're going to move it, so yeah.
I don't know if we even considered building it in place outside. I don't think the field was ready when we started. I don't think it was compacted and things.
It needed to be outside because it needed to look a certain way, and we were blessed with the sun and just the weather and everything, and it did give that look of a western, which was it adds even more to the field.
I just want to
sorry, Helen, go on.
Rinna for Sol's new look in season 3. She decided I ought to be a warrior queen, and is that a fabulous job? We in world we decided that Tansy got bored at night sitting around the fire, so she played with her mum's hair.
Cool lid, very cool lid.
It's actually one of my favorite scenes between Alex and Helen, and it was deliberately shot for it to like a long take, because though part of the sort of like feel for this episode or the goals is to sort of hopefully draw in the audience, and that was all set up in the shots. So like, there you go, awesome Alex jumping down.
That's one of my favourite shots.
So jumping down to the tunnel set, of course, which was in the grain store.
Yeah. So example, another shot, just to hopefully draw the audience in. So like Alex, what Alex was talking about, that there wasn't much dialogue in the script. It was very much visually. The visual storytelling was part of it, and how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to put the camera right in your face, and then it's gonna be it's really Alex is going to show that emotion. He's going to show everything that's happening inside, and that's a John Paul JP.
Yeah,
You kid, man, he was so nice.
He was so cool.
yeah.
Neil, this is your shining moment, though. This is the cinematography in this.
Yeah.
I think.
I knew when we were writing this, I would say this is the Neil. Neil is going to go to town on this one.
Yeah. Well, most of this block was day exterior, so this is the one chance I got to do some lighting on block 1.
Just like the floorboards and even like the art department with the finer details of like how the rocks like come through. Just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And the sound as well. The sound was very important for that scene. And there was no music. It was all about Hunter living through, seeing the world in while Hunter's there, and him experiencing that when he was down there as a young child.
Yeah. Rob actually did write music for this,
Yeah.
Which I think is kicked in by this point. But he did score the whole flashback, and we went through a couple of drafts of that and ended up just losing it and going with sound effects for most of the flashback.
Yeah. And that was Dawson as the master, my friend Dawson. Great actor. So search him out if you can find him. Dawson James. He's a great dude. It's when you're writing a script, sometimes you might think about people.
Yeah.
Depending on how it go. He was just one. It'd be nice if Dawson can do this, but I was writing it. I was thinking of Dawson as the master, and he was able to do it, which was lovely. So thank you, Dawson.
Yeah, thank you.
When he did the turn, the first turn he did while we were testing it.
Yeah.
It was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
It came out
I knew
really
it was gonna
very well.
work.
Yeah. It was gonna work, and here it is.
Yeah, Helen's big monologue coming up here.
Yeah.
Karina says Sol doesn't seem like someone who talks a lot about what she feels, but in this episode she does in the tunnel scene. Did you feel it was a release, something she kept inside for a long time, or a confession, or a lesson for Hunter?
I was certainly doing it as a lesson for Hunter, but she probably hasn't told this to anyone else. I don't imagine she was close to people in the village, having come from outside. So it might be, the first time she's saying it. But what mother doesn't like talking about their lovely child?
Yeah. But she can also see that Hunter is quite lost. And I guess she's been given him that sort of information that she probably doesn't talk about a lot. To sort of tell him that, your mum literally it's in the line itself. Your mother sacrificed herself because there was there's a bit of history we were going to. I don't want to spoil anything if anything comes through. There's a reason. Aluma is very important in a way. So that's why the master was searched for her. That's why the master personally attended Helgoth to make sure that she wasn't he can do what he did. But it's just to making sure that she's bringing that out and bringing that emotion in.
Theories in the comments now. Who is
Aluma? And how he does say Khan? How does that? There's 2 mentions of Khan in that. How does that work? Where does that come from? So there's the whole point of the episode as well was to show some. There was a bit of history in there that Hunter is not aware of. Now he's aware of it. What is that going to look like going forward? Because Khan he forgot about the fact that Khan was there. Or is he aware of Khan? Has he ever met Khan before when he was young? So, to come.
Yes. And Karina says was there, when Saul tells him that his mother didn't abandon him but saved him, did you feel, Alex, that was a breaking moment for him? Like, does that fracture him or does that make him evolve? Karina asks.
I think it's more. I think Hunter's in this episode. He's just trying to. The whole time he's fighting, not giving in to how he really feels about all the loss he's had, right? And then we have this moment with Helen where she kind of creates a space and gives him permission to see that his mum was trying to protect him, and all his life he's dealt with all this abandonment. Like, when you think about how his relationship is with Liana, and she died, but she also can perceive as like she's left him, not on purpose, but she's left him. So there's another woman who's left him, and then Ren and everything, and Ren just wanted to see the Archivist, but then they developed to this connection, and then he had to betray her anyway. And there's all this talk of people leaving him, and he's probably never really felt that. He's never really allowed himself to feel that. He's always trying to find his next meal, always trying to find his next thing, always trying to survive, as he says a lot. So it was when she just opened that door a little bit to, things aren't always perfect until you can think things are allowed to not be okay. And then that opens the door to his guilt, which we see come straight back, and he thinks about Ren, and then here we go.
Doesn't Liana say you've got to open up to somebody eventually?
Yeah, can't run forever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then there's Joran.
Yes.
One of my favourite characters to write for.
Yeah. Well, you created the character of Joran, didn't you?
Yes.
For season 2.
I remember when we did it, it was just like, oh, this could be a fun character. What if she speaks in a third person or just uses her name Joran? Which we haven't explained, but it's an interesting thing in the world. But also, she's all about that. She doesn't quite know what she's on in terms of what is her angle, she's like a wild card, as I like to say in the world. She's a wild card currently, so she could turn up anywhere. And played brilliantly by Sarah.
Yeah.
I love the little things. I love the little things that actors do, and everything he did brilliant.
Come with you.
You started something important.
As you can see, the sun was setting as we got to
brilliant
coverage of the
I think that
legacy.
worked out well as well. It's light. It shows the really, when we started what the weather was like, and the time of day for the episode, and it goes to the almost sunset. There's Richard.
The more like work and stuff I do, the more I realise you need a little bit of magic.
And there it is.
I'm not saying that was the magic. I was like, sunlight was the magic.
Yeah. And there's the fun shot of Hunter.
Also, one of my favourite shots of myself ever.
Yeah. I mean, to give you a little history of that shot, where that shot is trying to do. I grew up in a time where some films leave you with a particular feeling, and sometimes it's actually in the shot. and then you walk away from that. It's like, well, oh, you know, that was something. So I was trying to bring that across, but also it's the episode before the finale. So it's got to create some, hopefully, intrigue. It's got to create some hype, as they say, for the next one.
Yeah.
But also it's part of the journey of that episode, and it's it's literally, this is Hunter, this is who he is. You know, this is him on a new path now, and he's going to help Ren, and that's a purpose.
Yes.
He's not running away. He's heroic shot walking towards towards destiny, as they say.
Towards his destiny.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Superman shot. Hey, Kate, didn't see that.
So this is just some behind the scenes footage from making this episode. Was there a day of filming this episode for any of you that stayed with you? So, like, you know, what stands out to you most looking back on it? Not necessarily the hardest one or the scene you're most proud of, but like what is the thing that stays with you the most, do you think, from shooting this one?
It's not a day, but when the extras came out, we'd been blocking around the set, and then they all came in a straggly line across this barren field. It was quite emotional. These people wandering across the field. Yeah, I think there is some image. Somebody caught it.
I think you might be about to see it in a second.
Yeah. How useful.
Gathered around the monitor in the back of Dale's van.
It's a lot happened. That's like multi-purpose van. Lots happen.
Yeah.
Lots in there.
Yeah, so you can see it was a 360-degree set. It was fantastic to work in. Ross with the smoke gun, always making sure the smoke's good. There
it is.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Alex? What was your standout moment from this episode?
Standout moment in terms of like when we shot it and stuff, I would mainly say it was, for me, it's a lot of the tunnel stuff. I just, you know, that set was so cool, and just the moment that I had to, and the amount of shots we had to get, like, and parts of the wall were coming out and the camera would come through, like, it was really, like I said, I was talking about like the magic, right? When you can make a bit of magic, and I just think that it felt particularly palpable, the energy on those days with the tunnel scene. So that's kind of what I would say. I know you didn't say what's the most intense or anything, but it I don't know. There's something about that intensity for me that, like, I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know, it gives a bit of fire in me, which I like.
And there we go. There is the tunnel set.
Yeah.
What stands out for you, Ash?
I think I was just. It's not really one main thing. I was enjoying, I guess, every moment of it. Really. Just everything.
That's not me, by the way.
Well, you know, some things will be like, oh, well, it's quite hot today. Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, that I'm not counting that. But it's just like when we got into it, it's just everything about it, how it turned out. The actors, they all got what the episode was about, and what we were trying to achieve in terms of getting, you know, the shots and everything like that. I don't really have particular. I mean, Alex was brilliant, Meg was brilliant, everyone was brilliant. Meg, Alex, Helen, you know, Steph, Dawson. You know, Dawson was also so, you know, not forgetting Katie Sheridan. I mean, she, you know, very small role, but I think she shows a lot of what Illumina is going to be, or hopefully we get back to her. But there's a bit of history there. Khan is mentioned, so hopefully we see her again. But she, you know, she shows what the emotion for the mother, but also a bit of fight when she's with the master. You can see it in her eyes, and that's really what we're doing. But yeah, it's not really. There were some great fun moments for me as well, but I think I enjoyed just generally when we were shooting and everything like that, and everyone was on it. It was just like, yeah, I want to do another one because everyone was so great. Everyone, including the crew. No, don't never forget the crew. Never forget the art department as well. So that's why I made sure at the end, and I think on the last shot I thanked everyone because they were, they all given their time. Yeah. They all showed up. Yeah. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's about what we've got time for. Actually, that's gone by really quickly. So next week we will be back for the final episode of the season, big season finale, and I'm going to be joined here on the live stream afterwards by Ren herself, Oriana Charles, and by director Mark Hampton. And series co-creator Kate Madison is going to join us as well to talk about the next steps for the series after season 3 as well. Very exciting. So just remains for me to thank our guest, to Ashram Maharaj, writer-director of this episode. Thank you so much to Helen Fullerton, who plays Sol. Thank you. And thanks to Alex, who plays Hunter, of course. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good evening, everyone. Have a good week, and see you again soon. Bye.